As the golden glow of dusk settled over the quiet highway, Governor Donovan Montgomery eased his sleek black sedan into the right lane, heading home after a grueling day of political battles. At 42, he was the embodiment of composure, sharp in a tailored suit, eyes weary but focused. His license plate, Gov 001, spoke volumes, though he'd never been one to flaunt it. Then came the siren. Behind him, red and blue lights exploded in the mirror. Donovan's brow furrowed. He'd broken no laws, his speed was moderate, his record spotless. Still, he signaled and pulled over, a quiet weight settling in his chest. Experience told him this wouldn't be routine. The white officer emerged, hand already resting on his holster. Officer Austin Whitman, young, tense, swaggering, approached like a man expecting a fight. He didn't bother with pleasantries. License and registration, he snapped. His gaze raked over Donovan's suit, car, and skin. Who are you be driving something like this? Donovan remained composed. Good evening, officer. May I ask the reason for the stop? Whitman's hand twitched on his weapon. Get out of the car. Donovan obeyed, slow and calm. He knew better than to provoke. But the contempt in Whitman's eyes told him everything. This wasn't about the car. Or the law. Hands on the hood, Whitman barked. Donovan stood his ground. Am I being arrested? Whitman sneered. You think you're better than me? That suit doesn't mean you earned it. People like you don't belong in cars like this. Donovan inhaled slowly. Hard work. Education. Maybe you've heard of them. Rage twisted Whitman's face. Open the trunk. Do you have a warrant? I'm the law out here, Whitman spat. And that suit of yours doesn't make you untouchable. Donovan's voice cut like ice. You're on dangerous ground, officer. Whitman stepped closer, trembling with indignation. You're refusing an officer's command? I'm invoking my rights, Donovan said, steel in his voice. Then, suddenly, Whitman snapped. He drove a knee into Donovan's gut. Donovan staggered, but didn't fall. As Whitman moved to strike again, Donovan blocked the punch and responded with a controlled blow to the officer's chest. It wasn't revenge, it was survival. Whitman reeled. His pride shattered. He reached for his radio. Requesting backup, he growled, not realizing he had just sealed his fate. Donovan calmly dialed a number from his phone. When the line connected, his voice was unwavering. This is Governor Donovan Montgomery. I'm being harassed by Officer Austin Whitman. Please dispatch legal counsel from the Attorney General's office. Whitman froze. Minutes later, more sirens pierced the silence. Backup arrived. The officers who stepped out recognized Donovan instantly. Governor Montgomery, sir, one said, eyes wide. Are you all right? Donovan nodded slightly. You may want to speak with Officer Whitman. Whitman turned pale. Another vehicle pulled in. Out stepped Police Chief Ava Kalauis, her expression unreadable as she approached. Officer Whitman, she said coldly. Did you just detain the governor without cause? I didn't know who he was. Whitman stammered. I saw the car and thought. You thought. Kalauis snapped. You assumed. You profiled. She turned to Donovan. On behalf of the department, I sincerely apologize. Donovan's voice was low but resolute. It's not just about me. How many people without titles has he humiliated? Kalauis gave a quiet nod, the truth hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Whitman looked down, his bravado completely gone. I'll file a complaint, Donovan said. But I want more than apologies. I want accountability. Whitman clenched his fists. I was just doing my job. No, Donovan said sharply, stepping forward. Your job is to protect and serve, not to intimidate and humiliate. And today you failed. Whitman opened his mouth, but faltered. That badge, Donovan continued, is not a weapon for your prejudice. Silence stretched long and heavy. Officers exchanged glances. Whitman seemed to shrink. Chief Kalauis spoke again, her voice a razor's edge. Officer Whitman, you are hereby. A loud crackle interrupted her. Another radio transmission came through. A new voice. Dispatch. We have a report of the governor's car flagged earlier this evening by Homeland Security. Possible threat advisory. Repeat. Flagged vehicle. Everyone froze. Donovan turned slowly, his expression unreadable. "What did you just say?" Kalaui's face tightened. "Governor, we weren't informed of any federal alert." "I'll confirm immediately." Whitman's eyes lit up with sudden, misplaced vindication. "You see? I wasn't wrong." Donovan didn't even look at him. His gaze was locked on the chief. "Then it seems we have more than just a racist officer to worry about." And with that, the real story began. "You were supposed to protect, not judge. You are not the law itself, Officer Whitman. You are a servant of it, and you've disgraced the very uniform you wear." Austin Whitman stood frozen, the sting of Governor Donovan Montgomery's words slicing deeper than any punishment ever had. He looked down, stripped of his arrogance, stripped of control. Around him, the silence of fellow officers was deafening. Not one came to his defense, because deep down, they knew Donovan was right. "You cannot treat someone like a criminal because of how they look," Donovan continued, voice firm. "Today, you misjudged the wrong man. But what about those who couldn't defend themselves?" Whitman's throat tightened. His hands, once resting near his weapon with confidence, now hung uselessly by his sides. He didn't speak. He couldn't. What excuse could he offer? Donovan turned to Chief Kalaui's. "Remove his badge and weapon. Effective immediately." Kalaui's nodded without hesitation. She stepped forward and unpinned the badge from Whitman's chest. Then she unholstered his sidearm and handed both to another officer. "This is no longer yours to carry," she said sharply to Whitman's mouth opened slightly, but no sound came out. He had gone from enforcer to exposed, from accuser to symbol of everything broken. "You'll face internal review," Kalaui's added. "And this time, no union, no closed-door protection will shield you." Donovan took a step back and looked Whitman square in the eyes. "Let this moment be a warning to anyone who uses their badge as a weapon of hate." He turned toward the other officers, his voice echoing across the highway. "What happened here today is not rare. It's just rarely witnessed by someone who can speak out. That needs to change. Not tomorrow. Now." The weight of his words hung in the air. Several officers lowered their eyes. One even looked visibly ashamed. The illusion of one bad apple had been shattered. This was bigger. Under the dull hum of streetlights, Donovan walked toward his car. With each step, he felt the ache in his ribs, residue from Whitman's assault. But it was nothing compared to the fire still burning inside him. He paused before opening his car door and turned to Kalaui's. "I want this report on my desk by morning. Every detail. And I want his past stops reviewed. If this wasn't his first abuse of power, I want every name, every file." "You'll have it, sir," she replied. As he slid into the driver's seat, Donovan finally allowed himself a deep breath. But even as he gripped the wheel, he knew peace wouldn't come easily. This moment, this stand, wasn't just about justice served. It was about what came next. The road home was quiet, but his mind wasn't. He thought about his children, about all the children watching the video that was surely going viral by now. What lesson would they learn from tonight? That power alone couldn't protect them? Or that speaking up could? His phone buzzed. A message from his wife. "Are you okay? I saw the news. The kids are asleep, but everyone's talking about it." He typed back, "I'm on my way. I'll explain everything soon." When he arrived home, the porch light was on. His wife, Camille, waited outside. She pulled him into an embrace without a word. He held her close, feeling the weight of the day finally settle. Inside, Donovan sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the wall. Camille brought him a glass of water. "They're calling you a hero," she said softly. He shook his head. "I just did what needed to be done." "No," she said gently. "You did what most are too afraid to do." He looked at her, eyes tired but clear. "This can't be the end. I want to use this moment. Amplify it. What happened tonight is happening every day to people without titles, without power." She nodded. "Then start something. Push reform. Make this matter." That night, Donovan drafted a public statement. Not about vengeance, but about reform. He called for mandatory body cams, racial bias training, citizen oversight boards, and accountability for all officers. He ended with the words, "Justice must be louder than silence, bolder than fear, and stronger than hate." By morning, The video of the traffic stop had reached over 1 million views. Media outlets ran the footage, headlines blazing. Governor targeted in racially charged stop. Officer stripped a badge on scene. Accountability in action. Donovan Montgomery takes a stand, but Donovan didn't bask in the attention. He made calls to lawmakers, civil rights leaders, and police unions. He didn't want headlines. He wanted change. And in precincts across the state, a new conversation began. One led by a governor who'd been unjustly profiled and refused to be silenced. Because sometimes justice isn't a courtroom verdict. Sometimes it's a voice on the roadside that finally says, enough.